Well, there you go. So, what's up, Dean?
How are you, Jim? It's been a while.
It's been a week.
Yeah.
So I'm doing okay. I want to talk to you though about the elephant in the room.
Hmm. Would that be me?
No,
Oh,
the elephant in the room is, as a former stand-up comedian, what is your reaction to the guy jumping on stage and attacking the comedian?
not good.
Notice I didn't say which guy or which comedian. Did you
Yeah,
notice how I did that?
I did.
Because it's been happening, like it's happening. People are attacking comedians.
It's said a horrible. It's been going on. I mean, it's happened to me several times.
Did it really?
Oh yeah, it happened to me at the Improv in New York. I was doing my set. Somebody threw French fries and ice at me, and hit me in the
Wow.
head. It's happened to me in a southern state where I mean, really racist and vicious verbal attack on me that was just relentless and it didn't stop
Uh-huh.
on stage. So here's my take on this. One, it was a horrible when you're at this huge awards show, or
Mhm.
if you're in a comedy club, you're going there to see comedy. Anything goes in terms of language. It's just one of those spaces where there's total freedom of speech, and you're there if to listen to somebody. So a comedian is not there to make you personally laugh. He's there to make an audience laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't laugh, if you
Mm-hmm.
don't think that I'm funny, and I have
Mm-hmm.
said this from a stage where people are shouting at me or yelling or you suck or get off, I have stopped the show and I'll say, if you don't feel that I'm funny, if what I have to say doesn't make you laugh, if you don't like it, that's fine. There's the door. You have a choice. You don't have to sit here.
Uh-huh.
Go out, leave the room, and I will give you your cover back. I'll take care of your cover. You're free to leave. But the 99% of the other people are here are enjoying it. They're enjoying the show. My job is not to make you individually laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And you're making this personal. So
Okay, so I'm actually leading us somewhere that this is. You might go, wow, that Jim's not the hick
okay.
from the swamps of Virginia as I thought. How did you react when somebody was not verbally abusive, but somebody got? How many times was anybody ever tried to be physically abusive to you in your entire career? How many times?
Once, and it was the
Okay.
same instance where they were throwing racial epithets at me, and I got off stage because I turned the room. Let me just set this up.
Okay.
So after this happened, this was a Saturday night show, a 9 o'clock show, packed, standing room only. And this guy and he just engaged me.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he said some really racist things.
About you or just about people?
No, about me. If you want to, he said, I was announced by the MC
Yeah.
from New York City, Dean Edelson. So I
Uh-huh.
walk out on stage, and a gentleman from the South
Uh-huh.
shouted out, "New York effing Jew faggot."
Holy cow.
Those were the first things after he announced, because they thought, oh, Edelson, he's a Jew and he's from New York and he's a faggot.
This goes to prove how ignorant I am, because I didn't know that Edelson was a Jewish name. So I would just be like, it's just some bald white dude. Let's see what he's got.
But I had hair back then. I had curly hair.
Okay. Okay, well, that still doesn't matter. Okay, so
No. Then he
anyway.
would have said New York effing bald Jew face.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. So we started, that kind of stopped the show before it even started.
Yeah.
And he's yelling at me. He's a little drunk and he's with 5 of his, how do you say?
Compatriots, compadres,
Compatriots. Their necks were a certain bright traffic light color.
rednecks.
Neck. That was the word I was searching for.
Okay.
So he had already judged me right from the get-go. And I'm getting laughs at his expense. I'm just feeding back to him. But he wouldn't stop. And then I said to the audience, and I raised my when I said, how many people here hate this guy? The audience erupted. They could not stop clapping and cheering. And this guy was his whole face turned red. And he looked like if he had a gun, he would have shot me. So after the show, I had a great show after that. For the next 20 minutes, I was on stage. I was the middle act at the time. I got off, and after the show, I'm leaving. I'm going out to the lobby, and all the people are there. And this guy with his friends are there. And I'm like, oh my God. So this guy comes up to me and he puts out his hand. He goes, hey, man, that was a really good show. And I said, I don't want to shake your hand. And he lunged at me. He and his friends held him back. Go, hey, man. And they dragged him away.
So this is a great story about how when you write your sales copy, people sometimes, when they're writing a sales letter, get so worried about the one person that might send them a nasty email, or the person that might be ugly to them on Facebook because they're putting something out there. I've only ever gotten like 3 emails from people that were really, really nasty over 25 years of doing. And one of them, I know who it was. And it was the guy who fired me from my job, who was pissed that I was doing well. So he tried to be a heckler. And then the fool, I found out, had the IP address where the email was coming from, tracked it to his storefront, and went to the police and said, this guy's harassing me. They went to see him, and magically I never heard from him again.
Nice.
So actually, it wasn't him. It was the secretary. I'm sure he was involved with it. But they went down and talked to the office, and they talked to him and the secretary and said, look, we know this is where this is coming from. This needs to stop. So I don't know for sure that it was him. It was either him or the secretary or somebody in the office. My point, though, is that so many people, when it comes to sales, live in fear of this violent rejection that they think they're going to get from people by making their offer. And I can tell you that it's only ever happened to me a couple, 3 times. And you just got to have thick skin. If you're going to have somebody, though, attack you on social media, people are so petrified of that. If you've done your job right, if you have cultivated a tribe of people that love you, love your stuff, buy your stuff, you can turn them loose on this person on social media. And it's real easy to do. All you do is put the link to whatever it is and say to them, hey guys, I just got this. I'm wondering what you think about it. That's all you got to do. I've done that to Barry, people that give poo-poo reviews on like Amazon or something, where you're like, you want to shove that thing down because it's just BS, but it's a distraction.
Nope.
It's
taking it down. You don't want to do that. You want to rally the troops.
No, I got the truth. No, I didn't say get it taken down. I get it pushed down.
Right.
So you get like 20 people to give a positive that just shoves it down the list. That's what I meant. You never want to get it taken down because nobody trusts anything that has 100% positive reviews because they're like, it's just their friends. So the point is that Dean was facing physical violence while on stage trying to make drunken strangers laugh. That makes what we do with trying to sell our stuff and doing some Facebook lives and the things that we just kind of are blessed to be able to run along with our first world problems and making more in a day than some people in the world make in a year. And somehow we have a level of fear or trepidation or apprehension or any other word that you can think of that would cause us to not act because we're scared of somebody being mean to us or yelling at us or being ugly to us. And I just wanted to show that all you need is a little perspective. Because now you're like, you see Dean's a nice guy, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Really is. Just a genuine guy. He did marry up. His wife is much nicer than he is, and he's lucky to have her. His dog's real nice too. But if somebody could be mean to him and he'll bounce right back from it, just don't sweat it. And that was the point of this whole thing is that I bet you with the comedian thing, with the comic thing, there are a ton of people now that will never become comics or never even try it because they're scared that somebody's going to be physically violent towards them. And there are a bunch of people that are scared to go do a Facebook Live, to do something like what we're doing here, because they're scared that somebody's going to be ugly to them and call them stupid and say, you're a fraud, you're a cheat, this is moronic. You know what I mean?
And there's always another show. Because I did. And the point is, I had a second show to do that night. I was on stage right after that. And the same thing with any kind of comment. That comment is going to get lost as quick as that toast you had yesterday morning that you had for breakfast. It's going to be gone and forgotten.
Yeah, no toast for me, man. I'm on the Whole30 thing. I only have 85 meals left till I'm done with Whole30.
Oh, you got to stop counting. That makes it tougher. But there's it's forgotten. It's like, it's like it's like Hugh Grant says in Notting Hill, today's news is tomorrow's waist bin lining.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it is. You've got to, and if you haven't done it before, it's new. It's scary. There's a little reluctance there. And it's just a matter of saying, okay, let me do this. Let me put this out there. And after the second one, when you read it, we're going to be honest. When you read something like that, you want to jump through the screen and go, and you'll get it out. You have your little tantrum, but then that goes away because it's just in the whole scheme of things that don't amount to a hill of beans.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
Right. And one of the things that you can do to because I remember I was sitting in my little white house. This was before Susan came to work for me. And, I had my little email list and I was I was trying to make everything happen. And I was going to send an email to broadcast to my list. I had 1,000 people on it. And which 1,000 is a lot or 1,000 is not a lot. Depends on how many of them are actually listening to you. But I was sitting there literally sick to my stomach. And the little voice inside of my head was, what if somebody yells at me? What if somebody complains? What if somebody writes me back mean? Because what I did at the time, the return address for every single broadcast that I sent was my personal email. Because I was a one-man show, all my customer service was done via email. Everything was done via email. I mean, back then people could email me directly, ask me questions. I was the one that helped you if you lost your download link for the book and all this other stuff. I mean, I was it. I was doing the unsubscribes, the subscribes, all that stuff. So I was so close to it that I was worried. This is before social media and stuff. I was so worried about somebody fussing at me. but it also, by being there and realizing that, hey, nothing bad is happening. It's like nobody's going to yell. Most of them just don't give a crap. That's my job, is to make them give a crap. It's not nobody's going to yell at me. Nobody gave a crap. So that was a great training ground. And then social media is the same thing, where you need, you before you hand it off to somebody else, you better have your head to the rails and your feet near the fire, so you know what getting burned and stuff. So anyway, my thought.
No.
Robert has a comment for us. Stephen said, I was wondering where that story was going, but brilliant connection. Yeah, I knew I was getting a little long in the tooth there. Robert says, I have to say there are a lot of influencers out there that have great product services that are not fantastic people if you scratch the surface. Personally, I need to be better at putting that aside and focusing on what I want to accomplish. Well, but that's part of social media, is you can't really separate the person from the thing. When you are the business, all of you is potentially the business. And I would rather everybody kind of see the whole me than worry, like when you're at conferences or just all that stuff, worrying about what if somebody finds out, this is not the real me.
Right. Well, that's what we call front of the stage, back of the stage. In front of the stage is that persona and that character or whatever face you're putting on. And then you get behind the stage and you're somebody different. Oh my goodness. That's a trap. And it's not just be who you are, because it's way easier to do that if you do it the other way, where you have to be this character or somebody to the public or to your audience, and you build up this audience, and then you decide to either pivot and change, or that's not me. Then your audience is going, well, what the heck is that? Yeah. Or I just saw a part of that guy come out that are going, that doesn't match. Right. Now you have to cover your tracks. That's a lot more work. Covering lies is exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I want. I'm cultivating the persona and that I'm a nice guy who cares, but don't mess with him. That's always been my persona, And when I got off beta blockers, I stopped being grumpy. Before it was like I was the grumpy marketer, but now I'm just anyway. There you go. So, and your persona can change too. I mean, as you grow, you can evolve. I'm more like the edgy elder statesman now, as opposed to the young aggressive buck.
Oh, is that who it is?
Well, when some of these chuckleheads come along and they're half your age, and there's, I've been doing this for 5 years. Okay.
Wow, that's good. Maybe you're 20% of the way there to me.
That's right. How old are you? Man, I got kids older than you.
Yeah, exactly. So, when you were asking me, and I thought it may have gone in a different direction, but you made a really good, connection between the story that you had me tell here. It's the same thing. So somebody's sitting in the audience and they get offended by a joke. Why?
Tell me a joke that might offend someone, Dean.
No.
Oh, we can't later.
So, okay. Here's the thing. Now, you're in the real estate business, right? You're in the retail real estate business. So it's no different. So I'm an investor, and let's say you've got a house, it's $200,000. It's the market. And I come in as an investor, and I'm going to put an offer in to you. 120. Exactly. 120. Yep. And you, the realtor, and I've had this happen to me so many times. The realtors get so angry and annoyed and ticked. I'm not taking that. That's an insult. That it's not even your house. Yeah. And what I just said was a number. It's neutral. Why are you getting offended? Why are you so emotionally attached to this when it's not it's not even your house. It's got nothing to do with you. And that's exactly what happened really with this joke. It was a joke, and it was such a tame, lame joke. I don't want to go into the details, but he was laughing when he did it until he looked over at his wife.
Oh, yeah, you're talking. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So anyway, but don't get offended. You're at the Academy Awards. The Academy Awards has always, predominantly 90% of the time, been hosted by comedians. So if you can't take the heat, get out of the room. I don't care how good you look in your tux or in your gown. Leave. You're a target. You're a target because that's the context in which this ceremony, this event was set up. Same thing with the comedy club. It's look at the context. You're going in to hear things that are not expressed anywhere else on the planet. And a comedy club is a safe place to express them. So if those rules, those ground rules and parameters don't jive with you, don't go, because the comedy that's going to be expressed from stage ain't about you.
Yeah, but the problem is that because of all this PC nonsense, the comedy ain't as funny as it used to be because people are too worried about some chucklehead jumping up on stage or offending somebody.
You've got your comics like your Bill Burr and your Bill Maher and your Jim Jeffries and your all the comics who are your Sarah Silvermans and Amy Schumer's. Right.
But the point is that if we take this over in the copywriting world,
sure.
When you put something out there, there's a chance somebody will react negatively.
Yeah.
And when you need to get away from the computer, when you read an email or you see something on Facebook and you get that rush right here in your gut. Do you know the one I'm talking about? When you get that rush of, oh, hell no. And then it's like, you just and then you start composing every kind of response, and you might even go and you're like, and then it's like, and then you rewrite it again. Then you're like, screw it, I'm not even going to respond. Then you go outside, you go upstairs, you go in the other room, and you just can't stop obsessing. So you come back and you open it up again, but since it's Facebook, it's probably it's
way down in the feed by now.
If you can even find it. So now you're pissed because you can't find it, so you can't talk smack. And then you're like, Arr! And then screw it, I'm going to say it, bam, and you're giving them exactly what they want because they want to fight. They want to drag you down to their level, and they want to fight. So somebody told me, I don't remember who or what, but the gist of it was, somebody pushes against you, if you step out of the way, they're going to fall flat on their face.
Mm-hmm.
The way that you piss them off the most is to ignore them.
Don't engage.
Do not engage with as much as you want to. Go outside and scream all the stuff you would say to them, but never say it back to them.
Yeah. You can't hit a target that's not there.
Correct.
Right.
So,
and it's like
absolutely.
Stephen Morrow says, and this was coming to mind. So did Dan Kennedy not once say, if your copy doesn't annoy someone, you're doing it wrong? That he said, Dan Kennedy said, go ahead. Do you want to say
if you haven't pissed somebody off before lunch, you're not working hard enough.
You're not marketing hard enough.
Yeah.
He said, if you're not getting at least 10% refunds from sending out emails and promoting, you're not marketing hard enough.
There you go. Absolutely. I don't know. Mustafa, I don't know the answer to that one right now. If you want to shoot that in the help desk or something, but I'm not sure how to answer that. So anyway, this was fun. I mean, I a little topical, a little helpful, a little self-help.
Well, you certainly struck a nerve with me.
Well, I'm learning that we can talk about other things than just, hey, here's how to write a better headline.
This is so applicable. What you brought up is just, you got to have thick skin, and it just doesn't happen. Some people, they're emotionally disconnected to some degree. So it does
They're
just happen.
They're sociopaths. They
Exactly.
nothing.
They're sociopaths. But for most of us who empathize, right? If we're an empathetic creature, you're going to feel it whenever somebody throws smack at you or
Right.
writes something negative. And really, you got to read it and then have your tantrum, take a breath, and then sit back and then go, is this worth my time?
It's like calluses. You got to callus your mind a little bit, like just like calluses from working out. If you don't work out, then the first time you grab that bar and do anything, it's like, oh, that hurts. But as you work out more, you start developing calluses. That's why you can tell people who do pull-ups, because they got a specific type of calluses on both hands, and you can tell who's BSing. It's the same thing. You got to callus your mind. And the only way to do that is through experience and repetition. Hey, I've dealt with idiots like this before. Great example. Let me just give you one example. Now I'll give you the last word. So today, our server went down for a little while. 20 years ago, I would have gone ballistic. I would not have been able to function until the server was back online. Like literally, blood pressure through the roof, probably would have started smoking again, all that stuff. All right, drinking. Now, my exact words, I think, were, it'll come back on. We'll get it. I texted my guy, it'll come back on. And we just kept going. And that's callousing your mind. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you have separated the message, the messenger, and the emotion. Because sometimes when someone is giving you crap, there is a seed of a lesson in there. But if you get pissed off, if you get crazy about it, you'll never be able to see the lesson. Even if the lesson is just, hey, as Dan Kennedy says, like, I've made it to work today. This is just a chucklehead from out in the
from Akron, Ohio.
Yeah. And Stephen said, brilliant and funny. My grand said, what other people think of you is none of your business. Absolutely. What you think of me is none of my spiritual business. So great job, Gene. That was fun. Thanks for walking down memory lane about you being at the Improv. I wish I could have seen that, but I think when you were at the Improv, I was like 12. So my fake ID wasn't that good.
It's so true. I could be your pappy.
All right, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next time on the Jim and Dean Show. Bye-bye, everybody.